Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
I'm already tonight. So let's talk about the lottery reform. Now, one thing that is important to know about the NBA lottery reform, that this is kind of like a trial run. So obviously we're gonna talk pretty. I think my point, like, negative about it. Maybe Clint will too. I don't know, but I think 2029, right? They got an opportunity to revisit it. So this isn't something that's set in stone. So we'll talk about maybe some of the things we like and don't like. But here's some of the key points. It's a 2-3-1 lottery system. 1 through 3 get 2 balls. 4 through 10 is 3 balls, and then the 7 and 8 lottery teams, because it went up to 16 teams, right? Get one
Yeah.
ball. Is that right?
Yeah. So the two play-in teams also get 2 balls, like
Two
the
balls.
1 through 3, and
Okay.
the teams that lose the
8.
8, that lose the first round of the playoffs get the 1.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Okay. 1 through 3, the bottom teams can drop all the way down to 12th in the draft. Number one pick, you cannot have back-to-back years, and you cannot have a top 5 pick in 3 consecutive years. And then I think they also said the second round goes in reverse order, right?
Yeah.
That's like the top notes, right? Nothing. Okay. Quick thoughts, Clint. What's your thoughts?
So this is kind of what we expected. The not having back-to-back first picks, fine. 3 top 5 in 3 years, fine. I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't like that they backdated it 2 years, and it starts with the original team. So the Memphis Grizzlies have the Utah Jazz pick this year, but they cannot get it if it's in the top 5, because the Jazz had the top 5 pick last year and this year, and it doesn't change from the acquiring team, which I think is stupid, which I think is going to really hinder trades, especially, I mean, this is only a 3-year stretch, but
Yeah, what are they going to
thinking,
change next, right?
right. So if
Yeah.
you're thinking of trading again for a Jazz pick, for a Bucks pick coming up, if Giannis is gone for some of these teams, I don't know why you're going to want their pick per se. So I think that's actually a terrible hindrance to it. I'm fine, but I don't know why it doesn't just, that leaves when you trade it to the other team, because
Right.
that team doesn't have didn't have those other 2 picks. So I think that's like a horrible idea that
Yeah.
to me, and that also is kind of like sticking it to, I already kind of didn't like it for the truly bad teams that might end up with the 12th pick now,
Right. Yeah.
which is bad enough. But now you're like, oh, well, now even if you trade your pick, it's not worth as much for said reason. So that seems dumb to me.
No, I agree. I think, like, it should be based off the logo and not like whose pick it is. So, like, once the pick leaves your hand, it's, even though it's a Utah Jazz pick, it really belongs to Memphis. So if Memphis jumps in the top, it should, I mean, Utah, it should be considered Memphis and not Utah. So yeah, I think that's kind of dumb. I think the top 3 dropping to 12 is stupid as well, because like, we talk about this. There are bad teams in the league. Like, if you told if when we did our predictions, for instance, we could have predicted that the Wizards, the Nets, the Pacers were all going to be one of the bottom teams in the league this year. It wasn't that they weren't tanking, they were bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not going to help those teams get good. I don't like that. Like, I'm okay with, like, trying to limit the number one, the top 5. What I would have done is top 3. You can do it 2 consecutive years, but then you can't get it the next 2 years. And that way there you can have an opportunity to build with, like, 2 young star players, and then you don't get it the next 2 years, or, a 4-year period, you only can do it twice, basically, or whatever. But it's not that big of a deal. But I just think I mean, I agree with everything. I just think some of this stuff is they're going to look back. I think they're going to look back at this and be like, what were we thinking with some of these rules? They're kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, the main one that popped in my head was, so they changed it so that Adam Silver has like more power to
Mhm.
to change odds when it comes to tanking. And all I could think of is why not just change the pick protection rule.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and add you can't have top 2 picks. You can't have 3 in 5 years or 5. Yeah, whatever. I always say that backwards. You can't be in the top 5 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're going to give Adam Silver the power to just find someone, you're like, I think they're tanking $1 million. That's your warning. You've done it 3 times. We're taking away some lottery ball. If that's what you're going to do, then just leave the system the same and start with that. Just find the heck out of these teams, because you would stop tanking by doing that alone. If you just warned a team and you said, if it happens again, we're taking 0.5% off every time. So you could be the worst team, but you got 10 fines, and instead of having a 14% chance, now you got an 8% chance or whatever. You know, if you're going to expand your power to do that, then leave the system the same for the bad teams, because you can just fine and change odds enough to eliminate the tanking you're worried about.
Right.
And if you're going to say, because we've talked about like, okay, now you're going to have that middle ground tanking, and the only way the NBA is going to stop, you know, the team from being like, hey, we're 5th, but there's no need to win more games. We're just kind of cruise in this middle ground, or we're going to tank our way to the 10th spot instead of the 11th.
Right.
Unless the NBA is really going to hammer fines for that tanking.
Right.
You've just moved the needle, and awesome. We don't get to see the Nets play 5 G League dudes or random guys they called up. I guess you've probably solved the most egregious form of tanking, but I just think just give the commissioner power to change odds, even for the dumb things. I've referenced it before. The Bucks played the Nets, and the Nets had some G League dude that had like 25 points in the first half, and the Nets were winning, and they didn't play the second half because he was playing too good.
Right.
Fine him then, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to sit the G League dude or the 12th man on your bench because he's on a heater. Find that type of stuff. I think you're right. We're going to look back in 2 years and be like, I don't know what the heck we did.
Right. Because the move to do would be almost like a 1-2-3, where you give the play-in teams and the teams that lose to 7-8, like you give them the best shots to win. Because again, like we've talked about it, they're kind of tackling the wrong type of tanking. Because really, what made tanking so bad this year is you had like 10 different teams tanking because they're all trying to get the best odds to get the #1 pick. And we saw how the 10th seed got up, and like the Hawks and the Mavs jumped up, and the Spurs jumped up, and the Sixers jumped up. So everybody's trying to get into that range. And now you're going to encourage it even more because you don't want to be a bottom 3 team anymore. But you would you want to go in the play-in with 1 or 2 lottery balls and get destroyed by the Spurs, or would you like to be the 10th seed and get 3 lottery balls, right? Like I mean, it's logical what teams will do. So I just think they're tackling the wrong type of tanking. They're like you said, they're kind of encouraging other thing. And the other thing is that I like your idea of the commissioner just using his powers, and let's try it that way. I think this is going to be a lot like the flopping thing. He'll do it once or twice, and then he won't do it anymore. Because I think, let's say the G League dude you made mention of, you're absolutely right, should have played. But what if the Jazz would have been like, actually, or Nets would have been like, he tweaked his ankle, so we were just being like, how do you prove that he did? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just one of those things. I don't know. But yeah, I just think overall this is a fail. I don't like it at all. The more I think about it, it just annoys me.
Yeah, I didn't go back. I read it before, and I was going to reference it, but like a few weeks ago when they had the proposal, like Mark Cuban had like this long tweet about how this will be great for trades because now you could just trade for like 4 picks in the same draft, and you could be like with the odds, like if you had the Bucks pick and you had the Pistons, and they all like happen to like miss the playoffs, you're like, wow, now you have 4 shots of having the #1 pick, and you're like, yeah, that sounded great, but now we're backdating. It comes from the original team, so I don't want to trade for the Wizards pick.
Right.
Right. Oh, cool. I can't have a top 5. Like if you're, and for Memphis's purpose, the Jazz probably won't, but you never know if they miss the playoffs and end up at pick 4. Oh, cool. They get stuck with like the 6th pick then. So I think they went too far with that portion of it alone, and that's really gonna hinder trades. And like if you think of it from a Bucks perspective, now maybe you're like, do we want our picks back if we're going to be bad without Giannis? Maybe we want Miami's picks.
Well, that's the thing. So like if you're the Bucks, like now you don't care if you're in the bottom three, right? Because like your pick could end up 10 anyways and doesn't look as bad. You know what I'm saying? You'd rather have like the Heat or the Suns or like Blazers. You want those picks now. Like that's the only that was one positive I thought of because I was trying to think of like what are the positives. I think one positive is you might see at least within the next 3 years of the draft is these teams kind of that are like above average or good. They will put picks together. Their picks are a little bit more valuable, right? Because let's say Detroit, right? They're going to make a big move this year. You might have had to trade 4 picks. Now you might be able to trade 2 because maybe the team could like, hey, what happens if Cade gets injured one year and they're in the 5, 6 range, 7, they don't like they're that bad or whatever. All of a sudden, we got a better shot if they, if they were not 1 or 2 or 3, but they're a middling team. You know what I'm saying? Or like the East just gets so good, all of a sudden you're getting you get the 2 lottery balls, the same as the 1 through 3, and because they made the play in instead. So I think that could be a positive. I'm interested to see how teams will work that. Now, if you're the Pistons, maybe now you're like, man, do we want to risk trading that because that could be our pick? But I think there could be a positive outcome with that. But other than that, I can't really think of any positives.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's going to dry up some of the trademark because you're like, do I want the Pistons pick? I don't, right? Because the Pistons are going to be good.
Right.
Do I want Miami's pick? Maybe I want Miami's pick next year, the soonest between now and 2028, because even if they have Giannis and they finish the 10th worst record, now I have an 8.1% chance to win the lottery with Miami's pick,
right?
Regardless of where I am as the Bucks. Whereas I know the Pistons are going to be good. I know like the good teams, you're like, okay, I really don't want their picks. Do I want? I guess the Bucks still would want their picks back from 27 to 30 or whatever, but it's less important now if I can send Giannis to mid-team and pick up a 28, a 29 pick where I'm like, all right, he's going to be good this year, but who knows what happens in a couple of years. So I think there's going to be a curve of teams afraid to trade their picks unless they think they're a really good team, because I don't think the Pistons would hesitate to trade a pick in the next 3 years with Cade, especially if you're getting a good player.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in the middle, you're increasing the odds of looking terrible if you make a trade for, and it's not Giannis. If you're trading for Derek Queen like the Pelicans did, but now every pick is in the middle, and you're like, dude, we just gave up the first pick. And, and then that also turns out to hurt your ledger for future years. Like, I think you're gonna cramp some of the trade market, and that's going to be an unintended consequence for it. Similar like the second apron had an unintended consequence for like a year and a half. I think as things are now clearing up with that, we just added another like, I'm not sure quite how to value these right now.
Yeah, that's true. I just, yeah, it's good. Like I guess what I mean is if you're a team and you don't believe in Dirk, like me and you had to talk about Dirk and Asar, right? Like how that's just a weird fit. Maybe you could talk yourself and be like, well, this could be a fluke. I don't really think that they'll be that good. So once the Pacers get healthy, the Boston Celtics are better next year, all of a sudden it's like there's a couple teams that might leapfrog. The Wizards are going for it. Maybe they end up the 8th seed or whatever and they lose in the first round. It's like we get 2 ping pong balls. It's the same as getting 2 in the 1 through 3. So it makes that part valuable that you might take that risk for a Pistons pick. Whereas if it's like, the Nets, you're like, I don't know if I want that because it's 2 balls and, they're bad. So and they could drop all the way to 12. Like you'd almost rather have a 12 pick that could possibly jump to 1 than a 1 pick dropping down and going all the way down to 12. If that makes sense.
Just have to get the calculator out and figure out who is going to be the 8th worst. How can we get another Pelicans pick?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anything else, Clint?
Nope. Oh, the only thing was, I don't know if you saw, they had like the guy for aspiration got sentenced to 14 years.
Okay,
And
I
then
did.
the NBA lawyers had a statement that he was very cooperative, and they met with him twice and he helped with some documents. And then Steve Ballmer's lawyer had a line in there where they're like, Steve Ballmer was ripped off. I'm paraphrasing. Did I keep it up? Maybe I kept it up or what. But anyhow, oh yeah, basically he was saying that his statements regarding the Kawhi situation should be treated with skepticism, and that the reliability of his information is suspect, given that he has pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges and the government has made it known, determining that he is not credible. So I think Steve Ballmer's a little worried that maybe his good friend that he was funding maybe had some more evidence that Kawhi, there was some under the table stuff. It was just notable that came out like in his sentencing, and there was, besides as usual, this guy ripped me off, there's nothing here. They suddenly started saying, well, regardless of what this guy says, he's not credible.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, you could see the side of like if you're a criminal and they're like, hey, if you give us any information, we will give you a lesser sentence or whatever. They're going to say things that they want to hear. The question is there any evidence of what he's saying? So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Okay. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.